I did what I was told to do. I couldn't say no. If I say no, I'm gone.
Der mit Adolf Hitler zusammen die Zukunft der beiden Völker auf Frieden und Freundschaft gründen wollte.
It was a nervous time. We heard what happened in Germany. We heard about the Nazis occupying this country, the other country. And the name Hitler sounded so bad in my ears. They threw a fear on us, when we looked at them. Once I saw a most terrible thing. I could not understand how a human being could do such a thing. Taking out a lighter, in lighting that beard by an older man, and this man screaming, yelling, and there were 3 or 4 of them standing there, ha 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 ha, ha laughing again, like a party. It was terrible. They took us to a city called Mierkov. There were 17,000 people. When the night fell, they took out all the older people, like 2,000, and we heard shooting, tick, 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 tick. We figured out that they finished those older people. Everybody lined up, and there was at the head of the line, one SS man with a whip, playing the role of God. My whole family, right, everybody right, all right. My father, left. When I came in front of the line, left. 800 from the 15,000 to the left, 14,200 to the right, went to Belgium. Gas chamber. One way in and not out anymore.
Did you say goodbye to your family?
Nothing. We didn't know where we're going, whether we were going together. Who knew what they were doing? From there we were sent to Płaszów. It was a Jewish cemetery. They came in with heavy earth movers, big machines, leveling out the whole ground, all the graves, destroying. We saw so many bones, so many remains from people with all kinds of things. It's hard to describe, the skulls. So we had to collect those bones with the shovel to the wheelbarrow, and we leveled out the whole cemetery. No more cemetery.
How old are you then?
Still maybe 14. Then we start to build barracks.
Like in the movie, in the film Schindler's List, it shows this, the building of Płaszów, and you were there.
And then came that angel of death that I called the butcher of Płaszów, a SS man called Amon Goeth. And when he came, it became horrors. When we went out to work in the morning, we never knew if we will come back to the barrack at night and alive. He was a sadist. He had pleasure of shooting people for fun. There was a man called Shlomo Spielman, very nice looking man. He passes by and calls him out, step out from the line. So he went out and said in German, ich kann das nicht vertragen, dass ein Jude so herrlich aussieht. I cannot take it that a Jew should look so handsome. Pow! We were so afraid. You see those pictures, you're shivering, you're interpreting, you're so, what will happen to me? I can see myself in such a situation because unexpected things came. One day, the German war machine needed iron. They decided to take all those heavy fence, iron, full of iron. Every few meters, they had a column made of bricks, and they decided they'll put me up on that wall and pick the bricks. I had orders to not to break them. Somebody was standing there, I had the brick and I throw it down, and he picked it and we assembled, made a pile of bricks. So one day the gate passes by, I throw down that brick and the guy couldn't catch it. He didn't waste a minute. took out his gun, shot him, and he walks over and he says to me, throw it down to me. I took out the brick and throw it down. He didn't catch it either. So he calls me down. I come down, I start screaming, takes out his gun, and I see myself dead. I say, Shema Israel, I'm finished. And that was it. I didn't know anything anymore. But I woke up a few days later in a hospital, hurting, everything is painful. And I look at my body, it's all bandages. And I took away a little and I see it's cuts. I see the skin, I see bloody. And it hurts me in the back so much. And I don't know what happened. When I felt a little better, I went in the morning back to Lewcowicz. And when he sees me with a smile, oh, you're alive, huh? I didn't understand what he wanted. Yeah, I'm alive, yeah. Why? Said, you don't know? Do you remember when he took out his gun to shoot you? I couldn't remember really at the moment. So I beat you up so hard with my thing and you fell on your face and he was ready to shoot you. I said to him, that's what Lewcowicz tells me. I said to him, save your bullet, he's dead. I saved your life. And I started to remember a little bit what, I was like a blackout in my mind. Oh, so thank you for saving my life. At the end, we were taking in cattle cars, a long train. We couldn't breathe. We were squeezed. We were squished. 160 people in a cattle car. Every minute somebody fell. I don't know how many layers of bodies. Can you imagine the situation there? The smell. When they finally unlocked that cattle car and they said, heraus, out, we walked out 20 people. 140 people did not make it. We were standing in Auschwitz on the rails and we were smelling the smell of human flesh, skin. Till this very day, I cannot tell the smell of barbecues. It brings me back that terrible memory of those nights, those days. We had to clean up all the bodies from that long train. That was a job that kept me alive, that they didn't send me to the gas chambers in Birkenau. Because I was working, they needed work. When I saw all those things, what happened, I got slowly used to it. I had to live with it. You cannot do anything. What could I have done? Or what could... Escaped, I tried already a few times. And it didn't work. So I did what I had to do. After a while, Auschwitz did not have room for us. They shipped us to Mauthausen. And it was worse than anything else. They make us going down to the quarries and chop rocks, granite walk, and take it on our shoulders and walk up all those 184 stairs with those granite stones. They need to torture us. That's what we felt.
How do people have the strength to do that?
We just had it. Who didn't have it, didn't have it. And who had it, had it. It just... Many people I saw rolling down the stairs with their rocks and just finished. They were finished. There was a group of Dutch Jews that came there. They saw that it's not what they thought it was. So they asked them if they would like to register to become parachutists. So they said yes. They felt they'll teach them how to parachute. They took them to the opening of the quarries, and they said them jump. And there were a lot of dogs, and a lot of them with the bayonets and whatever, and they were jumping, and they were killed by falling down there, and some of the limbs were coming off their bodies because it was from a very high. When you see all those things, your life is worth nothing. You have nothing to lose. You do what you have to do, hoping you will survive the day.
What kept you going?
I had a lot of my belief from my parents, from my teaching, from the family, the tradition, believing in God, praying silently in my heart, and hoping that God will be merciful to me and He will let me live. That is all my weaponry that I had. I didn't have any other powers, but I have to do everything I was told to do, and I did. When I came to Ebensee, first of all, I had a body on myself. If it was not enough, I could still manage because I had some on me. And when I looked around, you could see people lying on the floor, sitting on the floor. You could see skin and bones. You could see that. You could see a picture that scared you. You see dead. You don't see life. A young Russian boy died, and there was a few of the Russians made a fire and roasted that human flesh and ate it, eating human body. And the day of Deliberation, May 5, 1945, the Lager Commandant, I think the name was Gantz, if I'm not from Ebensee, walked up on the stage with a loudspeaker. We want to protect you from the enemy. So we want you all to run into the tunnels. There was a rumor in the camp that all those tunnels were mined, explosives all over. They wanted to blow us up. And the whole crowd started yelling, 9, 9, 9, no, no, no. So what did they do? Started shooting. People fall on the floor. And when there was quiet, we lift our heads and we look around, we look at the stage, nobody there. We saw bodies. There were quite a few bodies from the shooting. We got up. So there was nothing new for us to see shooting or see bodies. We were brought up with it. Can you imagine? We walked out from the camp, so to say, breathing. I said, are we breathing free air, are we liberated? Whole hope was to come home, so to say home. Came to my home in Krakow, and I went into the apartment we were used to live. And I was sitting in front of a door, and the door is open, and I look at a picture that my mother was working on it for years. It brought back a feeling of home after such 5 years of torture. And my first question is, who came back? Nobody came back. I was always hoping. I didn't know that they took my whole family to gas them, to choke them to death. I didn't know that. And then my father, I didn't know what happened to him because we were together for a while, and then they separated us and they sent us to different places. And I didn't know what happened to him. We were 5 in our house. My father has sisters and brothers. My mother had brothers and sisters. And families, all married with children. We used to play together. We were such a happy family. We had so many people. We were deeply rooted in Poland for so many generations, so many centuries. Maybe 1,000 years were the Jewish people in Poland.
How many survived?
One, myself. Nobody survived. Nothing, not even distant family, nothing. Just myself. I was the only one in the world, and that was such a terrible feeling. And at a certain time, I was getting into such a pessimistic mood. Why did I have to make it? Why did everybody die? Why did I have to survive? Why do I have to cry and mourn for everybody? There must be a purpose in my survival. It's not just happening. So I have to do something. Number one, I have to get after those Nazis that tortured us, that made our days miserable for day after day, killing us, beating us, hanging us. I have to get after them. And I did. And it was not easy to find them. We found some of them. Schindler, I think we found them in a farm working. Amangert was hiding among a big group of prisoners of war, regular Wehrmacht soldiers. And it took us weeks. And as I approached him, my blood started boiling in me. And I ran fast. And when I saw his murderous face, he didn't look the same. He looked like a beggar.
You recognized him?
Of course, right away. And I went over to him and I started yelling and screaming, calling him all the names that he used to call out, spitting in his face.
Did he answer to his name?
Nothing. He wouldn't answer nothing. Why did you do the nothing? And every time he didn't open his mouth, he got a few licking, punches, kicks everywhere. I had a gun, but to shoot him would be giving him a golden medal for what he did. Shooting him, he would like that. No, not so fast. Take him to court, bring them to justice, bring a lot of witnesses. That court took for a while, bringing witnesses, seeing him every day sitting on the benches there with other murderers. I asked him in the cell in Landsberg, I was sitting on a little bench with him, did somebody tell you to shoot? Did somebody tell you to hang? Did you have to do it? Why were you such a murderer? Nobody asked you to do that. It was your own goodwill from your own heart. Do you have a heart? Do you know what a human being means? You see, we treat you here as a human being. He didn't open his mouth, didn't say a word. The judges asked him in court all kinds of questions. He did not answer nothing. He wanted to die.
And what happened to him?
Brought him to court, condemned him to die by hanging, guess where? In the same place in Płaszów where he used to hang other people. After the war, Schindler found out that I was Nazi hunting. And he looked for me and he came to me and he said, Joseph, I'm Oskar Schindler. I said, I know you. I have seen you so many. I told him how I've seen you. You know, I was a good guy. I am afraid that they'll take me to court and they will try to hurt me as a Nazi. And then. So I said, you know what, Oskar, don't worry. I assure you nothing will happen to you. He was shining. His face was changed. He said, how do you know? I said, listen, you didn't beat up your people. You didn't even shot one of them. You didn't hang any one of them. You're not a war criminal. That they worked for you under forced labor, it is not a war crime. You took away their money, their belonging when they came, so you're not a nice guy. But you're not a war criminal. So don't worry about it. I hoped after what happened that never again will happen something like it. Anti-Semitism is dead. Everybody was afraid to be anti-Semite after what happened to the Jewish people. Don't forget, a third of the Jewish people were erased. We're talking 6 million. And can you imagine in my lifetime what I see now happening in Europe? And I heard here in England, since I came, people are afraid. And there's anti-Semitism growing in this country. Evil raised their head again in such a short time for countries and for the existence of the world. It's a very short time since the Holocaust happened.
What should people do?
Fight evil. Fight anti-Semitism. Value goodness. Do good. There is a lot for us to hope for, and there is a lot that we could enjoy and to live and to enjoy life, and l'chaim, to live and forever, and against all evil.